Hi, and welcome to The Banker's View from Sibos, filmed here on location at the conference in Toronto. I'm Joy Macknight, Deputy Editor at The Banker, and I'm joined by Alex Manson, who's Global Head of Transaction Banking at Standard Chartered. Alex, thanks so much for joining us.
Hi, Joy.
Last year in Geneva, when we had our interview, you talked a bit about how data is becoming such a big and dominant theme at Sibos. Do you think it's the same here in Toronto, and why?
So it sounds like I got that about right? So we are talking about data this time, and it's perhaps a little too early to predict what we'll be talking about next year because it's day one on Sibos. But clearly, I think we'll stay on the theme of data for quite some time. There's a few reasons for this. Banks have a number of challenges. They have the challenge of reinventing themselves, creating a new client experience, which is digital but human in the same time. And also they have the challenge to lower the cost of delivery, which is still too high in most of the banking system. And they need to do both while not failing on all the expectations, be it financial crime compliance, be it sort of maintaining an infrastructure that works and is fit for purpose. Data is going to be hugely important in doing this.
Mm-hmm. And you're also speaking on a panel around sort of new technologies and artificial intelligence. Where can artificial intelligence really come to play, exactly to your point about cutting costs, but also making banks more efficient?
If data is going to be critical in solving that challenge, which is creating a good banking experience, lowering the cost, human intelligence does a pretty good job of processing data on a small scale. The problem is we're talking about data on a very large scale. Banks have a lot of data, and so this is really where artificial intelligence comes in to help us process a huge amount of data, which banks have had for quite some time, but haven't really used in the service of customers, generally speaking. And that's what the industry is going to get on doing now.
Okay. And the industry is also using artificial intelligence in around fighting cyber crime. How can it do that more efficiently, better?
Same here. In fact, banks have experimented with artificial intelligence and data for some time in the context of financial crime. It was, in fact, one of the first areas where people thought that there would be an immediate application of big data and where we could do a better job. Those experimentations are ongoing, are beginning to yield fruits. And I think the next step is where banks will be in a position to pool information together and partner up in order to create an even larger scale of relevant data, which can then be processed and passed on to regulators and enforcers for the purpose of fighting financial crime in a more effective way than the way we're doing it today. So that is actually a very exciting space where I would expect more to happen in the next few years.
And another new technology that everyone is talking about is blockchain. How can it really be applied in trade finance?
Blockchain is a foundational technology, which we'll talk about DLT, which is perhaps the better term, distributed ledger, meaning everyone has access to it. It's open, it's transparent, everyone sees it, and it's one version of the truth. In the context of preventing fraud, in the context of fighting criminals, it's easy to see how that DNA of transparency and irrevocability and everyone having access to that same source of truth is very applicable to fraud prevention and fighting cyber crime and financial crime in the same time. So one of the first areas of application for DLT has really been in fraud prevention. When we talked about TradeSafe last year, which is a proof of concept we ran with the government of Singapore and another bank in Singapore to apply blockchain to trade financing, the main focus of that proof of concept was really to avoid double financing. It's a fraud prevention mechanism. Now you could use that technology for broader things, and I could see us settling trades over using blockchain. I could see us, I see the whole process being transformed by DLT generally. But the very first application has been in fraud prevention.
Excellent. So my last question is really also about how you can use distributed ledger technology, let's say within the payment space, and how that's really going to transform cross-border payments.
So cross-border payments, as we know, are a little unwieldy, a little expensive. They work, but it's more expensive than people would like. And they lack transparency. which is the main pain point. Increasingly, we're going to get to a world of payments where we have transparency, instantaneity, real time, and what blockchain does in addition to this is irrevocability, meaning adding that certainty. So there's a number of initiatives in the industry sort of providing increased transparency and increased instantaneity. We're talking about real-time payments quite a bit more. That certainty is really what blockchain does for us. And thinking again, it's a foundational technology. It's not an alternative to another infrastructure. Ultimately, this should all come together and provide us with a payment ecosystem that is cheaper, instantaneous. People want real time. We want everything right now, don't we? Easier to use, and transparent, irrevocable, certain, which is where people want to be with payments.
Excellent. Thank you so much for your insights, Alex.
It's good to see you. Thank you.